Today, I'll be talking about the personal desire versus duty theme that is shown in both the story of Beowulf and the story in the game The Last of Us. Here is Joel. Joel Miller is the main protagonist in the story of The Last of Us. He is a former father who lost his daughter at the very beginning of the zombie apocalypse, and he's done everything he could to survive for the past 20 or so years. And in the time the story takes place, Joel is then tasked with transferring a teenager across the country to a research lab. And he's doing this so he can gain supplies, weapons, so he can further along his effort to survive in the zombie apocalypse. Now, he's the man who will do everything he needs to do for his duty above his own personal desire. But in the end, he is left to make a choice that contradicts that. What is Joel's duty? Joel has to help this teenager Ellie go to a faction that is located on the other side of the country in a zombie infested world. The reason is this is because she holds the cure to the zombie apocalypse. And multiple times along this journey, Joel has the opportunity to release his duty onto someone else or just stop him entirely. Now he's pushed on further by the death of his accomplice, who says, can you pretty please get this teenager to this facility and end the zombie apocalypse once for all. And this is his sense of duty, and he has to see it through no matter what. Now, what is Joel's personal desire? He really just wants to survive. He just wants to live out the rest of his days, and he doesn't really want to work for it. He just needs to survive. And as the story goes along, he gets a new personal desire as he farms up on the teenager that he's transporting across the country. And by the end of the story, Joel will go through extreme lengths to save Ellie. Now, who is Beowulf? Beowulf is a man of honor. He is a hero, and he will fight for the people. Beowulf thinks of glory and fame, and that will eventually be his own downfall, as he will go and fight a dragon at the very end of the story, even though countless people tell him otherwise. But before that, he always puts his sense of duty above his own personal desires. There's an instance where he does not want to become king, and he actually denies the throne, but it's forced upon him as the people need him to become king, and he has to accept that duty as his own, even though he really does not want to. As what is his duties? He has to protect the people he cares about and the people he leads, and he always helps people who ask favors of him. Like Arakthrar, who has the warrior, to go kill Grendel for was troubling his lands, and him seeking fame and glory was also held by a sense of duty to go and to kill the monster. What is Beowulf's personal desire? He wants to gain fame and glory, all while protecting the people he cares about. Now, this personal desire does change a little at the end, where he is still trying to protect his people, but he does it in a less thought out way, as the dragon, the fireworm, was almost at the end of its life, and he still went out to slay it against the words of his advisors, who said just to let him die, because if he killed the dragon, he would have more fame, more glory, and more love to spread among his people. Now, what are the similarities between these two stories? The similarities are that Joel and Beowulf both are warriors, the heroes, who've had personal desires that change, and then they have a conflict with their duty. And at the end of the story, they both decided to relinquish their duty. Beowulf decided to fight the fireworm against his advisors, and he died. And his death possibly led to the death of his kingdom, as his people were no longer safe, they were no longer guarded, and they no longer have a king to lead them. Joel, on the other hand, when he was supposed to give Ellie to the scientist, he instead saved Ellie from the scientist and ended up exterminating all. And in that, he did save Ellie for his personal desire, his bond, but he relinquished his duty of possibly making a cure. And in response, Joel essentially led the world to eventual downfall because they would know now there's no possible way for there to